Hello, my name is Adriana Martinez Mendibelson, and this video corresponds to the last part of my course English exams, where I'm going to be talking about one of the international language tests that you can take if you are willing to know which is your proficiency level. In this occasion, I'm going to be talking about the IELTS test, and I don't know if you already have heard about this, but this is the International English Language Testing System and it is designed to assess the language ability of people who want to study or work where English is the principal language of communication. In fact, I already had the opportunity to take this test 2 years ago, and one of the reasons why I took it is because it is one of the most recognized and accepted exams by over 9,000 organizations worldwide, which includes universities, employers, migration programs, professional studies, authorities, and other governments agencies. So depending on what you're supposed to get the international test, you have to choose which one, and I truly recommend the IELTS because it's one of the best, not only for its recognition but also for its organization and the very specific way they have to assess your English level. It is designed, in fact, to assess English language skills across a wide range of levels, and there's not such a thing as passing or failing the test because they measure your results or your performance as band scores, and they go from 1, which is the lowest, to 9, which is the highest, and they contrast your results on band scores with the levels on the common framework European references of language. So they tell you oh, okay, you're on band 7, so you have a level C1 or B2. That depends on what you get. Also, they give you a singular score on each language ability, and at the end they give you an overall. So you have a grade for each part of the test and an overall grade. Now, some of the international language exams that we take are usually divided on categories, and it's the same case with the IELTS test. The IELTS test has 2 versions, which are the academic and the general, and this is a very important point to know because depending on what you're interested to get the IELTS test, you're supposed to choose one of the versions. In my case, I took the IELTS academic test version because was the reason why I needed and was the best for me. But there's also the general, and as I say, that depends on what you want or the reason why you need it. In the case of the academic version is for test takers wishing to study an undergraduate or postgraduate levels, and for those seeking for professional registration in foreign countries with English speaking language. While the English general version is for test takers wishing to migrate to an English speaking country like Australia, Canada, New Zealand, or UK, and also for those wishing to train or study at below degree level. Now, the difference between the academic and the general version are not just the reasons why you're taking it, but also the organization. So the listening and the speaking part is the same for all the versions, but the reading and writing part are different from the general to the academic. So they don't have the same kind of task for the reading and writing parts of the test. Now, there's also about the timing. The listening, reading, and writing parts are present in the same day, in a whole row. So you take the listening, then immediately you take the reading, and finally there's writing. While the speaking part, which is an interview with a native speaker, that depends on the way you schedule or you book your interview. So it can be the same day as the other parts, or it can be in the next week or in the week before. So those are like the general facts about the IELTS test. And now I want to tell you a little bit about the organization or the format for the IELTS test. As I said before, it is divided on the four language skills: listening, reading, writing, and speaking, in that specific order. So the first part that you have to present is the listening test. This part of the test, times approximately 30 minutes plus 10 minutes that they give you to transfer your answer. And finally, it has 4 questions that are divided on 4 sections. Each section has a different audio that could be or could not have accents, but they're not so hard to understand. So actually, when I took it, some of the audios had a British accent, but it's not like a strong accent that you can understand at all. No, they're very easy, to be honest. So yeah, they're divided on 4 audios that are sections, and there are 4 questions for each one. The type of questions that they use in this one are multiple matching, multiple choice, plan, filling blankets, short answers. But it doesn't matter, because on the book questions, the question book, they give you a very specific explanation of what you have to do in each point. Also remember that in the listening part, you're supposed to be assessed on your listening understanding of main ideas, the understanding of specific factual information, recognition of opinions, attitudes, and purpose of a speaker, and to follow the development of an argument in an audio way. As I said before, there are 4 questions, and each question is marked for 1 point. So 1 question right, you get 1 point. And that are at the end, like seen on the band score. Then after you present your IELTS part, your listening part, you have to go to the reading part. This one lasts 60 minutes and there's no extra time. As the listening part, you have 40 questions, but in this time there are 3 sections for both academic and general test. Doesn't, like, the amount of readings is the same for each group, no matter if you're academic or general, but the type of readings, it is different. So the type of questions is the same as the listening part, but they go according to the reading. So there are 3 readings for each group, and the difference is basically that in the academic part, your readings are going to be more complex, more technical, with a wide range of vocabulary, more specific to some subjects, while in the general part, the topics are more common, and they don't have so much technical words, so it's like easier, some people could say, but I don't think it's easier. Like, it's the same for each part. The skills that you're being assessed on your reading part are reading for gist, reading for main ideas, reading for detail, understanding inferences and implied meaning, and recognizing writers' opinions, attitudes, and purpose on a writing format. Following the development of an argument, but as I said, in a wording format rather than audio. Again, each question has 1 point mark, so 40 questions right will be 40 points. After you finish your reading part, you have the writing part, and again, this one is different for academic version and general version. It lasts 60 minutes too, and it is divided on 2 tasks. The first one is required to have 150 words, and the second task is required to have 250 words. So in the case of the academic version, in task 1, you have to present a graph, a table, a chart, or a diagram, and you're asked to describe it, summarize the information, and explain your inferences from that information. Right, in task 2, you have to write an essay about an issue, a problem, a topic that they give you in a card, And remember, your essay has to have 250 words. Okay. Now, in the general version, in task 1, you have to present a situation, and you're asked to write a letter about that situation directed to a specific person. And in task 2, you also have to write an essay, but this time is in response to a point of view, an argument, or a problem. And it has a more personal style than the academic. In the academic part, when you have to write the essay, they take very closely attention to the whole correct organization of the essay, so you have to be prepared for that thing. And finally, the skills that are assessed on the writing part are in both tasks, 1 and 2, are the content, the organization of ideas, the accuracy, and your range of vocabulary and grammar, and the proper way you use it, according to coherence and coherence. Finally, it comes the speaking part, which is the most exciting part, I guess. For me, it was the most terrifying, but it was also a really great opportunity and experience for me and for my language learning. This part lasts approximately between 11 and 15 minutes, and it is divided in 3 parts. So the part 1 is the introduction and some general questions about personal information, like your name, your hobbies, your family, your work, the place where you live, and those things. In part 2, there's the long term, and in this case they give you a card with an element to describe. Could be an experience, an event, a person, an object. We don't know which is, they can be whatever it is. And you have 1 minute to prepare with notes what you're gonna say, and then you have 2 minutes to present your description or your explanation about this topic. So you have 1 minute to prepare, 2 minutes to perform, and then they're going to make some questions about that same thing that you describe. Finally, in the part 3, there's the two-way discussion, and it is kind of like a organized argument, like a debate about a topic that they explain to you, and you have to give your opinion, your point of view, and is usually connected with the part 2 of the speaking part. Now, the skills that you're going to be assessed on this part are the ability to communicate opinions and information on everyday topics and common experiences and situations by answering a range of questions. Also, the ability to speak at length on a given topic, and the appropriate language and organization ideas in a coherent way, of course. And finally, the ability to express and justify opinions and to analyze, discuss, and speculate about issues. So it's very important that your answers are as long as you can, and you have to try to show all your abilities and all your knowledge in the language. So try to not give short answers or to repeat vocabulary, but try to use all the wide range of vocabulary that you already know. These are basically the elements, the principal elements for the writing, reading, listening, and speaking part of the IELTS test. I really want to invite you to take it because for me, it was a really great opportunity. It taught me a lot about my own learning experience, and it helped me to recognize all the weak points that I had to improve and enhance. And also it kind of helped me to discover which skills I should improve more than the others, because for example, I got really great results on my reading and writing parts and listening parts too, but on my speaking I got a really lowest skill. So it helped me to focus on the things that I should improve more, and helped me to it a lot. And it was also a really exciting experience. So I hope you can check more about the IELTS test in their webpage and also in the British Council department, because they are the organization who organized this test, and you can find more information about it. Thank you so much for paying attention to this video. I hope you go understand me, and thanks.